Hi, no worries.
Using computer talking. Oh.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. If I can have everyone just please mute their phone. You had a lot of feedback, Ms. Christina. So if everyone can please mute their phones or their computers, please.
Thank you, Jaime.
You're welcome, man. We can hear you just fine. Glad you worked out that technical issue.
Me too. Thank you.
Chairman, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Just fine. Thank you.
Awesome. We'll wait a few.
Yes, sir. We've got about 3 minutes before we start.
And we were working outside, so
Oh, good. Protected by the sun. Protected from the sun, sir.
yes, sir.
I don't see.
Jaime,
Yes, sir.
what I would like for you to do for the introductions, if you don't mind, would you just go down the list and introduce, when the time comes, each one of us and what we represent and where we're from? And that way we can more easily expedite that, because to me, the meat of the meeting is listening to people, okay?
Yes, sir. We'll do.
Has Megan joined us already? If you're on, Megan, announce yourself, please.
This is Joe Hinojosa. I'm here. Glad to be with you all. Good afternoon.
Andy, thank you for getting on.
Absolutely, Commissioner. Thank you for being part of this as well. This is going to be a milestone study for this whole region, and you've always been so supportive of everything. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, it's only with everybody's support we can get this done, right, Jaime?
That's correct, sir. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Chairman, it's 3:30 if you'd like to get started, sir.
Yes, sir, I will. First and foremost, I would like to welcome everyone that is on this call and everyone that might watch this meeting afterwards because they might be tied up. Welcome, and we just want to make sure that we take the time to have everyone bring some of their ideas, their concerns, their issues, and solutions that they might have to us to make sure that we consider what each area has that is impacted by, rain events that cause damage to properties. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Mr. Salazar introduce each one of the members of the Flood Infrastructure Planning Group. And instead of us going around, just introduce each one of us, Jaime, very briefly, and we'll get down to the next piece of the meeting.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Jaime Salazar with the Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1, sponsor for Region 15. Voting members for Region 15, we have Mr. Jose Hinojosa, with the Santa Cruz Irrigation District number 15 or 16. I'm sorry, Joe. We have Commissioner David A. Garza from Cameron County. We have Mr. Daniel Lucio with AEP Texas. I guess when I call everybody's name, can you just acknowledge, see if you're here, please? I know Mr. Hinojosa, Commissioner Garza, Mr. Daniel Lucio, are you on?
Yes, sir. I'm present.
Thank you, sir. We have Mr. Hudson Deoy from the UTRGV. We have Commissioner David Fuentes from Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1. And
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Yes, I am here. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Mr. Joey Trevino from the Rio Grande Valley Chapter of Associated General Contractors. Mr. Trevino. We have Ms. Vanessa Rosales Herrera from the city of Eagle Pass. Ms. Herrera, are you on the call?
Present, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. We have Mr. Joe Khalifa. His interest category is the public. Mr. Khalifa, are you on? Mr. Joe Khalifa. We have Mr. Jose Caso representing a small business from Caso Law Firm. Mr. Caso. I see Mr. Caso is on the line and is connecting to the audio.
Right, he's connecting.
Perfect. We have Miss Sonia Lambert from Water District. She's from Cameron County Irrigation District number 2. Miss Lambert, are you on the call? We have Mr. Riazul Mia from the city of Laredo. Mr. Mia, are you on the call today? We have Commissioner Eduardo Gonzalez, Willacy County. Commissioner Gonzalez, are you on the call today, sir? We have Commissioner Raul Peña from Starr County. Commissioner Peña, are you on today's call, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Thank you, sir. We have Mr. Alan Moore from Cameron County Drainage District. Is Mr. Moore, are you on the call, sir? Mr. Alan Moore. Next, we have our non-voting members, Mr. Willie Cupid from the Texas Park and Wildlife Department. Mr. Cupid, are you on the call, sir? We have Mr. Tim Freer from the Texas Division of Emergency Management. Mr. Freer, are you on the call, sir? Ms. Nelda Barrera from the Texas Department of Agriculture. Ms. Barrera, are you on the call? Okay, we have Mr. Adrian Pettis from the Texas State Soil and Water Conservation Board. Mr. Pettis, are you on the call? Ms. Shonda Mace from the General Land Office. Ms. Mace, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Ms. Mace. Ms. Megan Ingram from the Texas Water Development Board.
Present. Hi, Jaime.
Thank you, ma'am. There you are. Mr. David Ramirez from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Mr. Ramirez, are you on, sir? We have Mr. Manny Cruz from the Lower Rio Grande Development Council. Mr. Cruz, are you on? I know we still have several connecting to audio, so Mr. Ramon Macias from the IDWC did send me an email. He was not going to be able to make it today, Chairman. And then Ms. Lupita Trinidad Ramos from the South Texas Development Council. Ms. Ramos, are you on the line? Okay. Chairman, with that, we're good to begin. I do see Mr. Moore on the line. I see Mr. Hudson Deoy. So we do have some. Sir?
Yes, sir. You. We can hear you, Hudson. Let me.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Okay, how about now?
Mr. Moore, I can hear you now.
Perfect. I guess I should have turned on my speaker, Chief. Not a
I
problem.
was on one of those little bit earlier to see things happen, I said, I can't hear you.
And Mr.
So I don't know what Mr. Hinojosa did, pero mandó un cancellation. So I've been having people call me and say,
You know, I saw that.
yeah, I don't know what he did. And he replied to everybody. So me habló Mr. Moore. I've had about maybe 6 emails and about 5 phone calls. I'm like, yes, we're still on. We're still on. So I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't call you because
We had our sir.
Okay.
Hold on, sir. We're having some. I think we're. Yeah.
So,
So yeah. So just so you know, sir, but
What's recording
I
on there,
texted,
sir?
Commissioner Fuentes, everybody. I mean, at least we can get a call going.
What is
Yeah.
going on?
Yes. Chairman Garza, you're on mute, sir.
I just kept hearing a lot of people talking at the same time. Okay? So I think you have everybody recorded that we need to have recorded. We will go ahead and again, welcome to all the participants. Megan, I think you have a presentation that you're gonna share with the group before on item number 3 on the purpose of the regional flood planning in the lower Rio Grande. So if you would proceed with your presentation, we would appreciate it. And I ask that all of us that are not gonna be talking to please get on mute so that Megan can be loud and clear for us. Megan, you're muted.
Oh, hello. There we go. Thank you, Commissioner Garza. Yes, I do have a presentation. So Jaime, if you get those slides ready, I am ready when you are.
And while we're waiting, those of us that might have seen some of them, just be patient with us. Megan always does a good job of giving us good description on what we are all about and what we need to get done.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, we're having some technical difficulty. If you can please allow us a few minutes to straighten that out, that feedback we hear in the background. Please.
There's a little background noise or something going on.
I think they're working on that, Commissioner. I think Jaime said they're working on straightening that out before they get the presentation started.
Okay, well, you can share if you like the first slide.
Oh, sure. Actually, that's a good idea. While they're doing that, let me see if I can pull that up. I like your hat, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I was doing a tour outside.
I love it.
And it's hot and sunny.
I apologize for that feedback, Commissioner. We're trying to get it straightened out.
Yeah.
What their plan is, but yeah, she's been looking. Oh my gosh!
I can hear somebody in the background.
Let me see what's. I don't know, Commissioner, if it's, Chairman, if it's on your end or.
I mean, are we as a planning group supposed to get that?
Commissioner, I don't know if that's on your end.
That sounds
Chairman.
like me talking?
Yeah, it was a previous conversation that we had, so I don't know how it's coming through.
It's with our bylaws pretty clear. You know what? Let me sign off. Just continue the Zoom meeting going.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and let me reroute myself.
Okay, sir.
6 hours all about. Yeah, because, I mean, and fortunately for me, they start with region 1.
Sounded like your recording was dubbing over the president's conversations.
Javier, Jaime, stop recording it. Maybe that's the case. I mean, it can help.
Hey, so long time no see.
Okay, we're good. Miss Megan, if you want to start with your presentation.
We can still hear it, bro.
No, that's, I have no idea where it's coming from, bro.
Hannah, do
I'm
you want
all
me to
by
figure out?
myself.
Do you want me to figure out a way to share the slides from my screen? Or are you prepared to do that from your end?
The slides on yours. I'm gonna leave my audio, see what's going on, so you can share yours and get started, Megan.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. That's gonna take me just a minute.
Start letting in some of the guests. Okay, I'll behave. You got it. I'll mute. Hi, ma'am. Hello. Hey, hi, my name is Santos here. Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
Some people still are not muted, I think.
Everybody hear me okay? We're good? Perfect. Hey, Commissioner Garza, how did the South Texas conference go? You're on mute, sir. Very well. Okay. Everything, we missed you. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just unfortunate. I had a family vacation planned. Yeah, no. Your son was playing somewhere else. So yes, yes. Well, it was an experience, a great experience. So it was good. But it's good to be missed. Okay, that's why we missed you. I'll take it. If you say yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I needed somebody to join me for breakfast, you know. Yeah, I would have been there sitting right next to you at Great. I know. But it was, the attendance, they had like 120 late registration folks. Yeah, I think there were up to 400 people that signed up.
Where we at?
Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, we will get started then. I don't hear any more feedback, so hopefully that's been resolved. But thank you everyone for being here today, and thank you for your patience. My name is Megan, and I'm Region 15's Texas Water Development Board planner and representative. And welcome to the first of what we call their pre-planning meeting. Let's see. Let's minimize this guy. So each regional flood planning group is required to hold at least 2 of these pre-planning meetings. And the purpose of the meeting is to give the public background on this brand new regional flood planning process, and in turn to help garner public input for the group members to receive. The origin of the regional flood planning process was passed in Senate Bill 8 in 2019. And that's what created the bottom-up watershed-based process for regional flood planning that's hinged on public input. Last spring, I believe in April, the Texas Water Development Board designated the 15 flood planning regions, which you see here on this map. And in October, we designated the initial voting members of the groups. And these members are volunteers who each represent an individual interest category, and they're meant to represent that category across the region. The Region 15 RFPG has created their own website, and you can go there to contact them and keep informed. I believe that's Region 15 LRG.
Okay,
I might be mistaken.
so even if my wife she get offer, but she still need the money to go. So
sorry about that. I couldn't tell if someone was speaking to me because I can't see y'all now that I'm sharing my screen. But yes, you can go to their website to keep informed and to contact them. It's very important to note, again, that public input is at the heart of this process. That's why we're doing this today. It will continue to be the case throughout the process. We'll have a second of these pre-planning meetings There will be another to seek public input on the draft regional flood plan when it's complete. And every RFPG meeting, there's opportunity to provide public comment. So that's the heart of this process. That's why we're here. So for those of you on the phone, we want to keep encouraging that as we go along throughout the cycle. So this is the flood planning timeline. Some of this is behind us, but to recap, the Region 15 RFPG, they have executed their contracts with both the Water Development Board and with their technical consultant, HAF Associates. HAF will be supporting the technical work of the regional flood plan, which is due in January of 2023. That's what you see right here. Once those are all turned in, all 15 of the regional flood plans from across the state, from across those 15 groups, will be compiled into the state flood plan, which will be due in 2024. So in putting together their very first regional flood plan, the RFPG will be tackling many tasks, and these include, firstly, gathering information to see where there's more need for flood risk, so where we're missing information and where we can help fill those gaps. Secondly, to evaluate the landscape of current floodplain management practices, so what exists currently. And then thirdly, to identify and evaluate evaluations, strategies, and projects to reduce flood risks. And I want to pause here to draw your attention to those three words. So evaluations, strategies, and projects. You'll also see those as their acronyms, FMEs, FMSs, and FMPs. And those evaluation strategies and projects are going to be the heart of the regional flood plan. That's going to be what we're talking about going forward. So it's good to kind of get familiar with the structure of those and what they mean. So once the RFPG has identified flood risks in the region, they'll start to gather ideas for flood mitigation. And these can be both structural and non-structural. A couple examples of which you see here. So non-structural example are mangroves along the coast to help absorb storm surge. And here on the right, a structural example is a seawall there in Galveston. So that brings us back to the purpose of this meeting. It's to get your meaning from the public input on the development of the group's regional flood plan. And again, just to reiterate, public input is going to be received not just today, but at the next pre-planning meeting, as well as at every RFPG meeting. So we encourage you to check out the Region 15 website. We encourage you to check out our website at TWDB to check out the resources on both to help inspire your feedback. Questions or comments for me? And if not, I know I'll be turning it over to Christina with HAF Associates to continue a more detailed look at what we're doing here today through their lens.
This is Andy Bigstall with City Harlingen. I just wanted to applaud your efforts and everyone that's participating in this process to come together and find a regional approach to solving our dramatic issues with flooding down here. So just wanted to thank you. Don't want to take up too much time.
Oh, great, Andy, that's great. I know I've exchanged emails with you. It's nice to meet you virtually. That's awesome.
Nice to meet you as well.
Any other comments or questions of Megan before we proceed with HAF and Associates? If not, we're going to go ahead and proceed and allow HAF to give us a short overview of what their proposal is and what they will be doing for us. Andy, good to see you full screen.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Christina, you're muted. You're still muted, Christina. Okay. We see your screen, but we don't hear you.
Mike, if we need to unmute Mike, please do so.
And can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you, Chairman, Megan, Jaime, and thanks for the little tidbit, Andy. I want to thank you all for being here and to say HAF is honored to be the Regional Flood Planning Group's technical consultant and help prepare this first ever regional flood plan. So the purpose of today's meeting is to introduce you to what Region 15 flood planning is all about. We'll talk about what's the extent of the region, who is on the regional flood planning group, outline the responsibilities of the planning team, describe what's needed in the plan, and it's my last opportunity to do one last plea for your local data before turning it over to Jaime for comments. So let's look at what we mean when we say Region 15, the Lower Rio Grande Basin, or really the region. So Region 15 is the lower half of the Rio Grande River watershed. It starts at the Amistad River in Valverde County up here, and it includes parts of 14 counties downstream along the Rio Grande. Once we get to Zapata County on the lower end, it starts including all of Zapata County, Starr County, Hidalgo, Cameron, and Willacy counties. This map on the right that you see here can be found on the Water Development Board's webpage. So if you wonder if you're inside Region 15, that is where you'd want to look. You can also find this map on the Region 15 website. This region is unique from all other basins except the Upper Rio Grande Regional Flood Planning Group, Region 14, in that the river itself forms an international boundary between Mexico and the United States. The 2019 population estimates put the population in this region around 1 million. The basin covers, or the region covers, over 43,000 square miles and includes approximately 5,300 stream miles. Over the last 36 years, FEMA paid over $197 million on flood claims. This region has seen over 125 major flood events in the last 20 years. And since 1953, there have been 31 major disaster declarations for this region alone. And a quarter of those have happened within the last 10, 12 years. So who's on the region flood planning group, and who's on the planning team? So I appreciate Chairman Garza having Jaime read out all the voting members. We have 14 voting members within the Regional Flood Planning Group. When the Water Development Board developed this planning group, they tried to model it like the state water plan and included representatives from 11 interest groups. So as you can see, and as you heard, we have 14 voting members in Region 15. We also have non-voting members, and these are representatives from various regulatory groups and councils of government. They're a resource for the voting members and provide insight into the ongoing activities within the region. Then there are the sponsors. Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 is the administrative agent for the Regional Flood Planning Group. They're really the arms and legs for the group. And the Water Development Board is the financial sponsor. There is the technical consultant, which Half Associates is the lead, the prime consultant. And as I mentioned, I am the project manager leading the effort. We have subcontracted S&B, Infrastructure, B2Z, Tetra Tech, and Pathfinders Public Affairs to support us in this effort in different capacities. And then there's you, the stakeholders. Your input is vital to this planning effort and the reason why we're meeting today, just like Megan said. So what are all of our duties? The Regional Flood Planning Group's #1 job is to adopt and submit the Regional Flood Plan by January 10, 2023. To meet this, they will have regular meetings where they will review materials from the technical consultant and take in stakeholder and public input. Using your input, they will make all decisions to develop and adopt a regional flood plan. They will determine the flood mitigation goals, that Megan was talking about for the region. They'll also approve the process for evaluating the proposed floodplain evaluations, the flood management strategies, and the flood mitigation projects that are developed. You can think of them as the brains of the operation. And like I said, the sponsor and the technical consultants, we're the support team, we're the doers. As a sponsor, Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 is the administrative agent for Region 15. They serve the Regional Flood Planning Group by organizing the meetings. They handle all the postings of the public notices. They develop the agendas. They put together the meeting presentations. And they put together the meeting minutes. They procured the technical consultant, and they manage all of our efforts in our contract. One of their first tasks was to prepare and submit a grant application for the grant funds for this group to operate, and now they're managing that grant. So overall, their activities are to support the Regional Flood Planning Group in performing their duties. The HAF team, we do the grunt work. We're responsible for actually collecting the data, and as such, we get involved in a lot of public outreach efforts. We help facilitate the formation of the regional flood plan with an eye to the technical requirements for the plan. And we will be assembling the actual deliverable that gets submitted. Last on my list, but definitely not the least, are you, the stakeholders, and the public. You have a very important part. We need to know what your problems are. We need to understand what policies you have in place for flood mitigation, what is working, what isn't, what are your critical flood mitigation structures, in what condition are there? Do you have any projects that are being planned right now? What do you use to understand your flood risk? Do you have any current models? We need to know all this because the plan that we're developing is meant to summarize all the available data, assess the current flood risk, assess flood risk, and develop a list of floodplain management practices and goals for the region to mitigate the flood risks in the region. So your input is vital. As Megan mentioned, a draft of the regional flood plan is due in August. On August 1st of 2022, your review and comments on the information contained in that draft will be needed. And a very important thing to note about the Regional Flood Planning Group is that they have no regulatory authority, and they can't impose any standards or enforcement actions on any group. Like the State Water Planning Group and the State Water Plan, it's meant as a forum for the region to come together, to devise a plan together to protect the region from shortfalls in a certain area. So for the State Water Plan, their focus is on making sure there's a reliable water source for future generations, especially with an eye toward periods of drought. The Regional Flood Planning Group's aim is to reduce and prevent the loss of life and physical damage to property from floodwaters. That's at the heart of what this plan is putting together. So after the plan is adopted, it is the local entities that will be responsible for implementing the plan. You will be the ones implementing the floodplain management strategies that are identified, the flood mitigation projects that we list. You're responsible for conducting the floodplain evaluations, the studies that will have to be done or that will be identified in this plan. And similar to the State Water Plan, it's important that projects get listed on the Regional Flood Plan to be considered for state funding in the future. So what is required of the Regional Flood Plan? The Water Development Board has issued their guidance that outlines 10 tasks that must be included. I like to present it in this fashion just because there's a lot that they're asking for us to do in a little bit of time. The first tasks really deal with describing the region, assessing the existing and future flood risks of the region, and developing flood management practices and goals. The Regional Flood Plan Group will need to identify these flood management practices and goals by the fall so that they can be included into a technical memo that is due January 7th of 2022. So less than 6 months. All this builds off of where we are today with the understanding what is working, where we can improve, where do we want to be. We need all of your input now to be able to build off and build these goals. We'll then start to define the regional flood plain evaluations, the floodplain management strategies and projects that will be written into the plan. We'll evaluate these and look at their impacts on the water supply and on critical and vulnerable areas in the region. Lastly, we'll look at the flood preparedness of the region, our flood response activities. We'll look at administrative and regulatory and legislative items, and we'll discuss the funding needs for implementing the plan. Next fall, you'll be able to review the draft like we've mentioned, and we'll be reaching out to you for your input. So please stay tuned into what Region 15 is doing, and let Jaime Salazar know if you want to be included in the Region 15 mailing list. So what are we striving for? We want the plan to meet all the Water Development Board requirements, and we want to establish a solid foundation for the future cycles. Like the state water plan, this plan is going to be updated every 5 years. And we will be supplying all the project deliverables required by the contract. So there will be maps, floodplain maps, there will be GIS databases, there will be tons of tables, and we'll be submitting the technical memo and the draft and final regional flood plans to Hidalgo County Drainage District, and they'll be the ones formally submitting it to the Water Development Board. What can we expect from this effort? In and of itself, this plan is not going to solve flooding. It will help mitigate flooding in the future as the evaluations are performed and the strategies and projects are implemented. It will be a great resource of information, and it'll all be contained in one place. It is important to note that there will be no new floodplain modeling as part of this project. We will be taking the best available information from recent studies and stitching those into a floodplain quilt that the Water Development Board has given us as a starting point. We will do the same for future conditions. So no, this is not a detailed H&H study. This is a plan that we're putting together. The region is long and it's big, and we need everyone to be represented. So there is a limited budget and time is of the essence. So this is why we put together that online survey portal to try to take in as much information we can in the shortest amount of time. What do I expect to see? There'll be many areas where we just don't have good information or any. That's what I expect to find out. There's going to be a lot of projects, but few are going to meet the requirements that the Water Development Board has established for a regional project. The good news is that there are a number of flood infrastructure studies going on right now, and other detailed studies are being completed. And there will be opportunities to include these projects in the futures. The projects identified in those studies may be conducted to the Water Development Board's criteria so that they can be included in the next update or amended into this first plan. So just because the plan is submitted before your projects are identified, there's still opportunity to include them. So I hope you have a better understanding of the goals of the regional flood plan. I hope that you also understand the need for good data, your data. And like I mentioned, have created an online survey and web map to easily bring in that information. And each question on that survey correlates to a specific data field in a GIS map or in a table that is specifically required by the Water Development Board. So if this is the first time, I hope that you've had requests for the survey to complete the survey. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, please reach out to me or Jaime and let us know. We are closing off the portal on Friday. So please give us your information is my last plea. And so just let me take a few moments to give you a brief tutorial. It's not going to be as in-depth as what I've given before, but a brief tutorial of the online survey as we refer to it. This is the welcome page, and entities will click on the left-hand box, and that with your login credentials that were emailed to you, and that'll take you to the survey. Members of the public can click on the right-hand box and place comments regarding flooding on a web map. So if you're a member of the public and you clicked on that right-hand side, you're going to be taken to this page. You'll see, you'll see the region and the boundary. If you go to the lower right-hand corner, there's a space where you can type in an area or a landmark, and it'll zoom into that area, and you can start indicating your comment. There are instructions in the upper right-hand corner on how to work this map, how to drop the comment, and you can add multiple comments on the map. And this is just a sample of what you'll see. I inputted McAllen Airport in the lower address box, and it's smart enough, it auto-filled it to McAllen Miller International Airport, zoomed into this area, and I just dropped a pin and made a notation that it floods in that corner, just as a sample. So this is what you'll see. And those blue areas that you see, that's part of the Water Development Board's flood quilt that shows the 100-year floodplain. There'll be green areas, which will show the 500-year floodplain quilt as it stands right now, with the information the Water Development Board had available. Now, if you are a stakeholder and you went to and clicked on the box on the left, this should be the first screen that you get taken to. We ask that you input your information just to update our contact information. And then it's important that you put submit, because if you just go to next and it's only on this page, it doesn't save your whatever you inputted. So submit it and then proceed to the next page. And on the next page, you'll have, I think it's like 14 different screens that you'll go through asking for the different information that we need to complete the plan or complete our data collection. So this is designed to be a come and go. You can do just a little bit, save it, leave, come back, or in bigger chunks of time. So if you just want to save it and go, you're going to click on the left-hand side, save. If you have more time and can do multiple pages, then as you input information, you get to the end, you're going to click on the right, save and continue, and you'll progress down the different areas on the left-hand banner. That aqua left-hand banner are the different areas of information that we're going to ask you for. And there's a progress bar located above this left-hand banner to let you know where you are. And so that's really it. If you have questions, there's links on the page that you can click to reach out for information. You can email me, call me. It's like I said, it's what we're doing right now with the data collection is really important. And before I turn it over to Jaime to take comments, I wanted to let you know about the different ways that you can submit comments to the Regional Flood Planning Group right now. So there's 3 ways. When we do open it up, I believe Jaime's going to be limiting the comments to 3 minutes each. But to provide written comments, you can email jaime.salazar@hcdd1.org. And we ask that you please include Region 15, Regional Flood Planning Group, in the subject line. You can also go to the Region 15 website, and that address is www.region15lrg, it stands for Lower Rio Grande.org. And there's a public comments page. So look at the headers at the top, and I think it's like the 3rd or the 4th one that's called public comments. You'll click there and there's an area for you to submit comments. And lastly, there's like I walked you through on the web portal for our online survey. While it's still active, you can go to the right-hand box and enter as a member of the public and input your comment on that web map. So with that, I thank you for your time today, and I'm going to turn it over to Jaime.
Chairman,
We have time for questions.
Chairman, we're on item 4 at this time. We'll be taking public comments. As Christina mentioned, they will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Anyone that is interested in making a comment, please.
Jaime,
Yes, sir.
at this point, we would want to encourage folks, if they want to share something with us, give us any short, brief comments. We would love to hear them. If you don't want to do that right now, please prepare them and either get them on the online survey portal before Friday or submit them to you at those email addresses. But there's got to be somebody out there that's got to want to say something. It's open.
I had a few questions for Christina, if that's okay, Chairman.
Could you identify yourself, please, when you make?
Jigsaw with the City of Harlingen.
Thank you, Andy.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Quick question: are the regions, the watershed, the regional boundaries, are they kind of defined by watersheds, or I know there were some ways that kind of broke it up, but if there was a small explanation on how they came about the watersheds, that would kind of help us. And also a plea to extend your deadline from the 30th maybe to the first week in August. We're trying our best to get everything input, and a lot of information. Maybe you're fixed on that deadline, but if there's any wiggle room, we would appreciate a little bit of an extension there. So that's all I had. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
So Megan,
go ahead, ma'am.
My understanding, so the different regions do follow watersheds, Andy, and there was this big public comment. The Water Development Board did open it up, but they did want to have people who are dealing with the same kind of floodwaters look at it as a watershed. A lot of them, like I mentioned the Rio Grande watershed, it extends up north, but because they're so long and the needs of like El Paso are different than our needs down here, they split a lot of these in half, just because the idea is that we'd have more in common with like the lower extents of them. And we're not the only one where there's a lower and an upper reach.
Yes, that's right, Christina. And also just logistically with voting member travel for when it's in-person meetings again, just to make it feasible for members.
And about your timeline, I think we can. I mean, it just puts a bigger shame, but we can extend it for one more week. But, that really is just putting us in a bind when we're actually starting to talk about it. But we'll look at extending it to next Friday.
I think it would be helpful, Christina, since this pre-planning meeting is happening Wednesday, you know, we could give it a little more time and allow folks to more be able to, you know, give us the best information they can provide for us.
Mike could have jacked it.
I agree, Chairman.
He was looking at.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy, for bringing that up. Any other comments from the folks on the line that wish to give us any information today instead of thanks? With that comment, it's going to be extended, you know, a week. So, Mr. Mesa, I see you.
Yes, I have a comment. I'm Edward Mesa, City Manager from the town of Laguna Vista. We're working on some of our drainage problems that we have, especially after the rain that we had this past 2 weeks ago. And we're working with the funds that we're getting from the American Rescue Plan in order to try to relieve a lot of our funding, our drainage problems here. So we just want to be kept in the loop. We're filling out all the information that we can. And we'd like to have that also. It's a lot of information to fill out, but we're working on it for tomorrow. So just want to be kept in the loop.
We encourage you, Ed, to any information you have or questions to reach out to Ms. Leal, Christina Leal with Half and Associates, and she might be able to help you answer more of those questions.
Okay, great. Will do. Thank you.
Chairman Garza, this is Andy Ernest with Rates.
Yes, sir.
For the benefit of Commissioner Fuentes, I'll refrain from introducing myself beyond that. I think most everybody on the call is aware that there's a significant amount of investment going on here in the Valley, and mostly due to the leadership from the Valley making our presence known in Austin and in Washington, D.C. Christina, I know that that HAF has also been contracted by the Land Office for a regional flood study, and then there are also several Category 1 FIF projects that have been funded within the Valley. There are three that I'm intimately familiar with. There are at least two that are moving forward fairly rapidly: the City of Harlingen and the Rio Grande Valley Development Council, Category 1. These are fairly large efforts, which will include a significant amount of data collection. Just to preface my question, I'll say that there is the amount of investment that is going on in the Valley is on the order of tens of millions of dollars, just in terms of planning. But I should state fairly emphatically that is a drop in the bucket compared to the volume of investment that's needed to do the job right. So my question or my comment is that I would hope that there is some methodology within your process for Region 15 to coordinate, hopefully within HAF and Associates itself, between the Land Office flood study and the Region 15 work, and also the other Category 1 projects, and the other efforts that are going on across within the investments by other state and federal agencies, just to ensure that that every dollar that is being spent in a responsible fashion.
Do I respond to this, Chairman?
Sure. Yes, please.
Yes. No, definitely. I mean, Dr. Ernest, definitely, we are working very closely with both the GLO and with the Water Development Board, and in the hope, and definitely trying not to duplicate any efforts. There are coordinations between Water Development Board, GLO, and HAF all the time, to stay on top of these efforts. And as these studies progress, it's in the benefit for both projects. to include them as best we can. Region 15, like you saw, has a very accelerated schedule. So, as projects from these other studies become available, we'll try to roll them in as they become available. But the FIF studies and the GLO studies are tracking on different timelines, and there will be no duplication of efforts for these studies, and there'll be tight coordination with all entities.
Thank you, Andy, for bringing that up, and thank you, Christina, for giving us Mr. Augusto Sanchez. I see him pop up.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to comment along the same lines that Dr. Ernest was commenting, that there's a significant amount of money. And I mean, the previous challenge in the Valley after living roughly 15 years in the region, historically has been the lack of funding. And right now there is a significant amount of money, of funding compared to what we had in the past. So I think that poses a greater challenge. And there's a lot of individual efforts going on right now, not only at the planning level, but also the brick and mortar type of projects. And I want to urge all the voting members to keep that in mind when the decisions are made, and that there's got to be very close coordination between all these agencies. Here in Cameron County, and I'm the natural resources coordinator for Cameron County, and also the floodplain manager, and we are pulling in the Army Corps of Engineers as well with a PAS funding application that we submitted a few weeks ago. Just looking forward to have their expertise in the mix with all these efforts, but also looking to the future, that we can eventually bring down some significant funding to actually implement the plan. So I want to urge all the voting members in this group to keep that in mind. I think the plan has to be flexible and versatile, and whatever products and outputs that these bring out, they need to be compatible with all the individual efforts that are going on right now. And we are at least from the Cameron County perspective, we're doing our part. We're trying to submit as many information as we can to this questionnaire. And I certainly appreciate the extra week for filling out the questionnaire, because the 30 minutes that it was noted there is certainly not realistic, but I appreciate that, and that's it. That's just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Any other person wish to make a comment? If not, what I will do is I want to encourage everyone on this call to please get on that online survey portal, utilize it, and give us the information that can be. If we don't have your information, the plan will be deficient in the information you have that you don't share with us. So, the more information that Christina and her group can get to put this plan together from every site on every issue that we know of, the better plan at the end of the day we can produce to help each community develop the opportunities to do the mitigation efforts that we want to do, and most importantly, to be good stewards of the public's funds at the end of the day. We want to be able to help develop a plan that will give each community the best bang for the dollar spent and the best mitigation effort that we can put forth within a budget that we all have to live with. As Mr. Augusto mentioned, there's limited dollars, but we can maximize the efforts and maximize potential mitigation with a good plan. So I cannot emphasize enough to you all to please get on the online portal or send comments to Jaime or Christina at the very near future. You know, the online portal, I think, is the easiest way, Christina, that we can use. I thank you for making it a little available longer than we had initially wanted, but I think that that's great for us. Megan or Christina, any other comments, or Jaime, before we close the meeting?
No, not for now, Commissioner. Thank you.
Okay. We will have another meeting of this type coming up. And Jaime, the date that we agreed to, please refresh my memory. I don't have my notes. I'm not on site in my office.
Chairman, one of the dates that we suggested was August the 18th. And
yeah. August the 18th was the next pre-planning meeting that we wanted to do. So we will go ahead. It'll be again a 3:30 p.m. meeting on August the 18th. And then, you know, if there's any question, it'll be more of a question and answer, because we've already got all the orientations today, allowing each one of us to be able to formulate better questions or comments. And join us on the 18th of August at 3:30 p.m. And we will be able to give Christina and Megan more information, especially Christina, so that she can start the full-blown work, because it is a short timeline that we got to do the work within. So if there's no more information, if one of the members wishes to make a motion to adjourn, I will entertain it. One of the voting members that's still awake.
So move.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes, and second by Mr. Caso. All those in favor say aye, or raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Aye. Thank you so much, all of you, for being on, and we look forward to the 18th of August for the next meeting. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.